Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk about how you can be a brainstorming machine and generate ideas for your common application essay really easily. And I think people spend all summer trying to figure out what are they going to write about for their common application essay. And I think this can be really simplified if you have some strategies, you have some drills, you have some ways, proven methods that people can use to come up with really good ideas for your common app. And it's always good to have too many ideas for your common app than too few or no ideas because you can always figure out what works best for you. But once you figure out a great idea that you really want to do, I'd encourage you to stick with it because you can almost make any idea work for your common application essay. What you don't want to do is kind of figure out that you want to write about one idea and you want to focus on another idea and then you want to focus on another idea and you just keep writing first drafts for different ideas because the first draft is never going to be good, but the process of revising and editing and all those things is what makes your common application good. So you kind of want to generate a lot of ideas, choose one great idea, and then write a lot of drafts for that until you're really happy with your common application essay. So strategy number one is free writing, and this is something that I'm a big fan of because a lot of times what's very difficult is writing something that we think is good. Almost all the time, whenever we write something, it's not going to be good. It's going to be something that we think is bad. But, Stephen King has this quote that says that writing is to sin, editing is to be divine. Something along those lines. And it means that, whenever you're writing something, it's not going to be as good as when you're editing something because editing is kind of the process of taking this unstructured, this free flow ideas, this jumbled up voice in your head and kind of putting it onto paper. What makes it actually coherent is the process of editing. And you want to focus on just writing and you don't want to focus on, is this good? Is this bad? Am I writing about the right thing? Is this on topic, off topic? You just want to put everything on paper. So one thing I do is I have this little timer that I use, and I kind of set it to 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long I can focus and just get my keyboard and keep typing and keep typing and keep typing and keep typing until I have a page, 2 pages, 3 pages about my experiences, my story, every single thing I can remember. And I don't just do this for the common application essay, but whenever I have to give a speech or whenever I have to go for an interview, kind of just free flow and tap into my subconscious because a lot of times the things that you're thinking about consciously is very small and the things that you think about subconsciously, all your memories, all your trapped experiences, all the things that you don't think about until there's a trigger, those always appear once you start writing and you think like, oh, I remember that. And the only reason you remember that is because you remember some other thing and that makes you think of another thing. And so you want to kind of free flow and engage with your memory in a way that you start to remember things that you wouldn't otherwise. And if you don't do this, it's really difficult to brainstorm. And the good thing is, a good Common App essay is kind of a collection of experiences that you remember that you can coherently weave into a story of your life. And so free writing really helps with this because you're kind of just taking this disparate collection of memories that you have and you're just putting it all on paper. And then eventually you're going to take those memories, those experiences, those stories, and make it into an overarching story of your life. And so if you can do free writing and you do multiple sittings of this, not just one time, but like 4 or 5 times, you're going to have a lot of ideas for your Common App essay. So what I'd recommend is you sit down with every single Common App prompt and you just keep writing about whatever you can think that answers that prompt. And if you can keep doing that, for every single prompt, you'll have tons of great ideas that you can use to answer any one of the Common App prompts and probably a lot of your secondary prompts as well. So this is going to make your process a lot easier. Second thing is read books. And I didn't write a lot about this because I want to speak a lot about this, but if you can read a book related to the thing that you're interested in or read a book related to, experience that you've had, then you're going to have so many good ideas because whatever you have experienced, somebody else has experienced as well, has written about it and has written their reaction about it and written like all the ways they thought about it. And so if you read like 4 or 5 different people's writings about the experience that they've encountered and kind of their reflections on it, you can also figure out, well, what are the reflections that I have? What unique story do I have to tell? What unique takeaways do I have to tell? How can I learn lessons from these people's writing and kind of implement into my own life? And the good thing about the Common App essay is it's a really common form of writing where you're kind of writing your memoir of your life, your experiences, and how that's influenced the trajectory of your life. And if you read any biography, any memoir, any story, that type of writing is going to be everywhere. So just read a book that's kind of like more of a higher level book, and you're going to have tons and tons of great ideas that come to your head. Okay, third thing is mind mapping. So this is to draw a central circle or an image related to your essay topic and then kind of branch off from that and keep branching off with stories, memories, ideas. This is kind of a form of free writing, but in this one, you're being a little bit more organized. So something that I recommend sometimes to students is, first free write as much as you can, and then take all those things that you just wrote, and can you try to mind map it into a organized structure? And that kind of is modeling the process of going from a first draft to a second draft, where you're kind of forcing yourself to organize your thoughts a little bit better. For as a first thing to do, this is not always the best because you're kind of forcing the organization to happen at the same time as your thinking process. You kind of want to first recollect the memories and then you want to organize those memories. So first focus on free writing and then focus on mind mapping. That's my recommendation. Okay, number 4 is listing. So, can you make a list of the experiences, achievements, or challenges and passions that come to mind when you first think about your essay topic? Don't worry about organizing or prioritizing the list at first. Just write down everything you can think of. Then go back through the list and circle the items that are most relevant or compelling. The way that I a lot of times encourage students to do this is, can you make a list of every experience that you've had in high school over the past 3 or 4 years? Can you write all the jobs, all the activities, all the experiences? Can you write a list of 100 things that you've done in college, or sorry, in high school that you can kind of write about? It doesn't have to be work experiences or projects or things like that. It can also be fun events, fun memories, fun times you've had with your friends. And the good thing about a list is, a lot of times you can remember way more than you can think of at the top of your head. And so when you have a list, you're kind of forcing yourself to just keep writing and put it in a structured way. And usually when you're making a list, you're making a list of something, of experiences, of jobs, of activities, of projects. And so when you're making a list, you're kind of forcing yourself to keep writing and writing and writing until you remember every single one of those things that you're making a list of. And if you can do that, then you'll make an amazing list of all the things that you can think of and write about. So that's my idea for using listing to come up with great brainstorms. Okay, the next one is asking questions. Can you ask questions and brainstorm a list of questions related to your essay topic? So if the question is, if you have one of the essay prompts, then you can ask questions like, what is the most important lesson you've learned? What is a challenge you've overcome? And so then you can answer each question in detail using specific examples and anecdotes to illustrate your point. The good thing about this is the CommonApp essay prompt asks a lot of questions at once. And so if you can break down the questions and kind of first focus on the first question, then focus on the next question, then focus on the next question, it's going to make it a lot easier to kind of brainstorm and answer the questions, because your brain can't handle so many questions at once. Your brain can only handle one question at once. And so if you ask questions in an ordered manner and you break questions down, so if they're asking, what is the most important lesson you've learned? Then the first thing you can ask is, what are the lessons you've learned? And then you can focus on what is the most important lesson you've learned. Or if it says, what is a challenge you've overcome? Then the first thing you can ask is, what are challenges that I faced? And then which of those challenges have I overcome? And then what lessons did I learn from the challenges that I've overcome? And what was the process of overcoming that challenge? There's so many questions you can ask from that one question. And so if you can break down a question into multiple questions and then answer each question in detail, it's going to make it so much easier to write these essays. So that's my tip on asking questions. Okay, then we have role playing. And this is kind of a more like creative writing idea. It can sometimes help, but if you can imagine yourself as a character in a novel or movie and write a scene or dialogue that illustrates your essay topic, you can kind of visualize experiences, perspectives from a different perspective and generate new ideas or insights. The way that I kind of encourage students to do this is with your voice. So can you think about your experience from the voice of, I don't know, Iron Man, right? And then can you also visualize your experience from the voice of somebody else? Can you visualize your story from the perspective of somebody who's super super serious and down to earth? And can you visualize your voice, visualize your story and the telling of your story from somebody like super super happy go lucky frolicky and like just having a great time? And if you can kind of role play your story out like different people, you can kind of think about your story in a different way, and you can kind of expand on it and think about it from a different perspective to generate new ideas and new insights. So that might help you as well. And then finally, there's a Reddit group for creative writing prompts, and you can kind of join that Reddit group and look at the prompts that they ask and read a lot of the essays that they write for the prompts. You know, these are not as creative, but some of those prompts are really wacky, and you see a whole community of people answering those questions with really great essays. And so you can join that community and start writing, using those creative writing prompts to write essays, and you'll slowly develop a voice and slowly develop a pattern of writing that you'll notice, and those can be your that can help you really generate new ideas and just keep writing and writing. And Stephen King actually describes how just the process of writing helps you open up so much more in your toolbox and write so much better. And if you can do that, then you'll just kill it with the creative writing. And I just want to finish off with kind of the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to brainstorm and generate ideas, but ultimately it's to unlock memories that are in your brain, in your subconscious, that you have not unlocked yet. Because if I ask you to tell me about something, you won't be able to consciously remember the thing in detail that you want to tell me. But if you think about it and you kind of write down and you kind of unlock from your subconscious the memories and the experiences and the lessons and the growth and everything else that you want to share with me, you're going to tell me a great story because you first tapped into your memory, you first unlocked those lessons, and then you've told it to me. And so telling a great story is not necessarily telling it upfront, not telling you immediately, but it probably means thinking about it a little bit, remembering everything, and then telling it. And that's kind of the process of brainstorming, remembering everything and bringing it to the light so that you can tell a great story. And if you don't do this, then your essay is not going to be as good. And if you do this, you can be better than 99% of the people who are writing essays. And I hope that was helpful, and see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.